Hello and welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Telcoin, both in the smaller time frames and the bigger picture. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. All right, so as you guys can see, we have an inverse head and shoulders pattern here on the daily candlesticks with our left shoulder right here, our head right here, and our right shoulder right here. And here's our neckline on Telcoin. So this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern, and I personally believe we will get a very bullish reaction here based on this pattern, break above the neckline, and start to see upside here on Telcoin. This is a very, very common pattern for crypto and a very profitable pattern to be picking up as much Telcoin as possible inside of this pattern. Now, the pattern is not confirmed until we break above the neckline of this pattern, and for Telcoin, that price is 0.007 cents. So if we can get above that neckline, it will confirm this inverse head and shoulders, and we're going to go a lot higher here in the immediate future for Telcoin. You can also see that we have a falling wedge here. We started to break bullish out of, and now I think we're going to see a lot more upside based on the bullish breakout of this falling wedge. So we have two bullish patterns stacked on top of each other, an inverse head and shoulders and a falling wedge, and those are both patterns that I'm very confident will play out and will lead to a lot more upside in the short term for Telcoin. Now, if we zoom out just a little bit more, we can see another falling wedge breakout here on Telcoin. So we have this bigger falling wedge that we broke bullish out of, and now we came back down to test support. So this is a pretty common thing to have happen when you break bullish out of a pattern for the market to come back down onto support, find support, and then turn around and go higher. So that's a very common thing, and I do think we will see a bigger breakout based on this falling wedge on Telcoin. Another bullish pattern that I see here on Telcoin is an ascending broadening wedge. So as you can see, we have a wedge pattern. We just barely hit the support level of this wedge, and we're starting to bounce off of that lower support. So this pattern generally leads to a big bullish breakout, and it's a very common pattern in crypto. So on the daily and the 5-day, we have a lot of bullish patterns in the immediate future for Telcoin, and I believe we will see a big bullish breakout very soon on those time frames. Now let's talk a little bit about the bigger picture and what I see coming in the larger time frame for this coin. Now, in the biggest time frame, we do have a huge ABC correction here, wave A, wave B, and wave C. We've started to recover for our first Elliot wave. So this is wave 1 and wave 2. And now we're getting ready for a big picture wave 3. Now, big picture wave 3 is going to be very bullish, very impulsive, very vertical, bigger than anything we saw in wave 1. So get ready for a lot of vertical price action coming for Telcoin based on Elliot Wave principle and a wave 3 coming in this market. So that looks really good here in the bigger picture. You also have to understand that with crypto, a lot of times we do get extended fifth waves, which means the fifth wave can be bigger than wave 3. So if you think it's done and it's over at the top of wave 3, with crypto, a lot of times people get excited. We get super hyped about a certain coin, and then we just keep FOMO buying, and that leads to these huge extended fifth waves, just like what happens in commodity markets like gold or silver. Now, in terms of the market cycle, we're just barely coming out of the depression phase into the disbelief phase. That's where we're at in the cycle. So here would be depression, and we just barely came out into the disbelief phase. So most people are in a state of disbelief before we get a big bullish rally and a huge recovery all the way back into hope optimism, belief, thrill, and euphoria. So we're really at that earliest phase of the cycle where the financial opportunity is still extremely high and the risk is still very, very low. As you can see, the disbelief phase and the depression phase are still in this red and this blue zone where the maximum financial opportunity is there and the lowest financial risk. That's where Telcoin is at in its cycle. Here is the euphoria phase. Here is the depression phase down here. And now we're in disbelief, getting ready to go back in to all of the next phases of the cycle, which would be hope, optimism, belief, thrill, and euphoria. So the cycle is starting all over again. So in terms of the market cycle, it would be a lot like buying Ethereum in 2020, very comparable to buying Ethereum here in 2020. As Ethereum pulled back a little bit here onto support before pushing up higher towards a new all-time high. In terms of the market cycle, that's very comparable to buying Telcoin right now, as Telcoin is starting to recover before it goes parabolic and vertical in price. And that little pullback that we had recently at our local resistance is very similar to the little pullback that Ethereum had as it tested resistance on its way up to a new all-time high. So both of these charts are very comparable in terms of human psychology and the market cycle and in terms of profitability, except Telcoin has a smaller market cap, so the percentage gain could be even bigger than what we saw with Ethereum. Now, on my X account, I posted yesterday about Telcoin, letting you guys know that Telcoin also looks identical to early day Bitcoin. So back in the day when Bitcoin was very new, before it was established, before it went to the moon, we had a market cycle very similar to what we see over here on Telcoin. You can see Telcoin over here on the left and Bitcoin over here on the right, and how Bitcoin had one of those big parabolic runs and a huge crash, then it reaccumulated, found support, and went all the way to the moon. And that's exactly what we see here with Telcoin over here on the left. Huge market cycle, big correction, reaccumulation on its path to the moon, and a new all-time high coming for Telcoin. So I firmly believe we're very bullish in the shorter time frames as well as the bigger picture, and we're going to see a huge run on this coin that will be very profitable and very lucrative for everybody holding on to their Telcoin. So if you start to see Telcoin start to break out, break through resistance, break through the inverse head and shoulders, break through our local resistance right here, then you'll know that we have the green light go for big things coming on this coin. Now, for me personally, I don't like to wait. I don't like to wait till there's confirmation. I like to buy the dip. But once we do break above that resistance level, that will confirm that we're going to see a big parabolic run on this coin all the way to a new all-time high. Just exactly like what happened to Ethereum over here on the right as it broke out through resistance and went to the moon, and Bitcoin over here on the right as it broke out through resistance and went to the moon. So Telcoin really is a prime opportunity to be picking up a coin that's heavily undervalued in preparation for a big vertical move with huge percentage gains all the way to a new all-time high. And once it breaks that old all-time high, who knows how high it could go. It could go really, really high. It's very common for coins as they break above their old all-time highs to go into price discovery and just shoot to the moon way past people's expectations and make a lot of people very rich. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and share it with your friends. If you guys want to learn some of this stuff, make sure you apply for my school community. Link in the description box below. It's only $69 a month for learning videos, so you can get the right mindset to start making money easily and consistently in these markets. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos, and as always, stay profitable out there.